Curbside podcast, loud and bright. Trucking safety, shining light. Innovation taking flight. Join the ride, we'll be alright.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Curbside podcast. I'm Robbie Sawyer here with my friend Dylan and Mr. David of Key Oil Stop, and I'm with HB Next. I'm the safety consultant for the state of Florida. I started my safety career and adventures on the trucking side with Davis Mail and the part of the same captive. That's how I met these two gentlemen. And now I am doing safety consulting for a large consulting firm for construction, DOT, and maritime. Give it over to you, Dylan.
Yeah. I've been doing this for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I'm a safety manager for Key Stops, Key Oil. Have a few different companies we operate, doing a bunch of different things. But prior to that, I was a driver hauling fuel here. And then before that, I was operating a tow truck and hauling heavy equipment. So, if it's been wrecked, I've probably seen it. And if it's a heavy piece of equipment, I've probably moved it. And now I help other people to safely haul fuel across the state of Kentucky, as well as Tennessee and Indiana.
Awesome.
He's the one with all the experience, though. He's been doing it for
That's why we roped him into
5 or
this.
6 years.
33 years.
33.
My name's David Murphy, and I started as a safety line of work in safety on a referral from my brother, who was a salesman in the garbage business, and he said you'd be perfect. I had just come out of 20 years in the Navy and the Marine Corps, and of course in the military, no evolution is ever accomplished or even considered successful unless everybody's safe. And so it wasn't necessarily safety that I was going after. I just actually getting out of a job in the service. I just wanted another job. Had a family to support. And I ended up in Lakeland, and I worked Lakeland, Orlando, and after 8 years in that area, still in the garbage business, including medical waste and incineration, and eventually recycling. It took me another till 2013 to leave that industry and shop around for something else, and it ended up being transportation, this line of transportation with gas and oil. In every location I was at, I counted them earlier, location or in a region of responsibility, I had 10 physical hauling companies and multiple landfills, recycleries that at the time somebody said you're in charge, they were in the bottom 20% or lower of the corporation statistics for being unsafe.
Okay.
And nothing was different when I came to Key Oil.
It's different now.
Different. Yeah, I'm excited about all the success you guys have had. That's definitely shown from your experience and dedication. But I was excited to see Dylan too winning the safety manager of the year.
And I was telling somebody over the weekend. As a matter of fact, the person was the former he's an alumni of my institution, and he was our quarterback. And when he got out of the Navy, he became CEO of ExxonMobil. And so when I saw him at a tailgate party, and I mentioned to him that we are distributors of ExxonMobil, and I'm the distribution administrator.
That's awesome.
And so we talked about ExxonMobil's assessment process and how it paralleled the OSHA intervention process.
Yeah.
And it sounded like in a very short conversation that he was kind of the guy drawing the big blue arrows on the board saying, I'd like to see something like this.
There you go.
Because you mentioned that, ship, not only ships but squadrons in the Navy, as well as deploying units of Marine Corps, all go through some level of inspection and assessment prior to deployment to their mission capable. And it sounds like the ExxonMobil assessment process is very much parallel to that.
We'll
So
say
he smiled and shook my hand, and as the retired CEO, there's actually a band of suites at the stadium with his name on it because he spent the money to build them. So
it's like remember that keynote speaker? I think it was in New Orleans. We all were at for the workshop, and he said, "If you copy someone else's work, what's it called? Plagiarism. But if you borrow it for keynote speaking, what is it called? Borrowing or something like that." So.
Well, yeah, there's nothing new, but you have to adapt it to the circumstance or the environment that you're in.
Right.
And I think what Dylan's background and his energy and some of the ideas in the past that have worked for me, we've kind of put them in a tumbler, turned it around, ground it up, spit it back out, made something new that was really fundamentally the same that was used 20 years ago.
Yeah, I know Dylan will be humble about it, but yeah, that's how he and I connected on that. Not only on just knowing the rules, knowing the safety rules and the governing bodies, what they want us to do, but like his ability to on the tech side, I think is unparalleled. And how he not just knowing the tech, but translating it from tech world into driver world, which is where we get lost. He gets lost a lot in translation, but he does a good job at that.
It does get lost in translation, and that's probably the one thing that I saw early on. It was way back with BFI, and we were moving from Orlando to the suburbs out to Altamont Springs, and it was like you just can't memorize the regulations and speak from the reg book to drivers and expect them to say, "Okay, I got to follow the regs."
Right.
You got to humanize it.
Yeah, they'll pass out quick.
Yeah, you gotta explain what happens when you do things right, and don't be the bully on the road, and tie it all into, because that's the law and the regulations. But you don't have to go into 1910.210 dash paragraph sub paragraph A, B, and C. You just lose them. And it was the same in the service. How many pillows do you have in the barracks? Okay, it's not base order 2.2 says every Marine's got to have a pillow. It's just, how many do we have? How many are we short? How many we order? How many are we over? And you're never over. And you just get it taken care of. And so
just keep it real, basically.
Keep it
simple,
real.
Talk to people. Actually, one of the guys, one of our over the road guys, came in the other day. This is while you were out of town on Friday, and he came to me, and you'll be able to guess who it was. He wanted a couple of 50s, and he's like, "My camera went off 55 times today." Well, let's come on with me, and this is a little after 4 o'clock. I'm ready to go home. It's Friday. I'm done for the day. But I was going to take the time. I talked to him and brought him into the office, and we looked on the system, and it's like, your cameras went off, I think it was 20 times in the past 7 days. It went off this many times today. And out of that many times that it went off, it only actually triggered an event that resulted in a video like 2 times in the past week or something. And that led into this whole conversation about how we use the cameras and, among some other things. And, one of the points I made to him is just ignore the dang thing. We use it to help you guys, to coach you guys, to train you guys, but it's there to protect also. And, you know, we went on a few other conversations, and by the end of it, he was pretty happy, and hopefully he understood a little better, and maybe ignores it and doesn't over exaggerate it going off 57 times.
Yeah, well, there's definitely no reason. I agree with you 100%. There's no reason a driver should be losing sleep over that stuff. You know, because I know our drivers had a ton of anxiety when we first installed that. And it's the same thing. Once you have those good conversations like that, it really goes a long way. And you get one good driver bought in, and then you don't have to do as much preaching, right? Because they're all going to talk about it.
Well, that's one benefit where we've had them for 8 years now, 9 years, 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. So the entire time I was a driver here, we've had them that whole time. So we've got plenty of drivers who have had those positive experiences from that technology. So it's much easier to get that buy-in, but you're still always going to have that one guy who wants to pull up the 1% and the
and drivers are competitive by nature. They're independent.
Right.
They want to think that what they do and how they do it is better than the other guy.
The next guy. Yeah.
And so with that mentality, and now that there's been a camera in the cab for 7 years or 8 years, they don't want it to go off because they think they drive good enough. It shouldn't.
Right.
And
is that kind of like
particularly with this driver?
Is that kind of like when Google tells me I'm going to be home at 4 and I say bet, and I'm racing that timer at the bottom?
Depends on how much over the speed limit you go.
Just kidding.
Funny you say that. I left a hotel in Lexington Thursday morning at 5:28, and it said I would arrive in Chantilly, Virginia at 1:48. And I knew I had to stop in the Mount Sterling office and get gas, and among other things, maybe stop and get some biscuits for the drivers. And so I knew that 1:48 was going to be more like 2:15. 1:47, I pulled in.
Nice.
Because it's like, well, what happened? I stopped at a rest center, and besides using the restroom, I may have picked up a paper map to put in my inventory, which aggravates a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's just a tertiary,
Right.
For when Google goes away.
Yeah, in case that EMP goes off.
But here's something I want to make a point of, just to pick a little fun here. We were across town just a little bit ago at a presentation, and we had to leave there to come over here so we could do this recording and such. And we're going down the interstate right there. He's behind me. We get off onto a main road. He's right there next to me. We get to a red light. He kind of gets a little ahead of me. I beat him here.
Nice. Did Mr. David, do you have a Harley too? Or
I do not have. I do not. The most dangerous thing I ever had was a Corvette.
He has a Mahindra.
And I totaled it 3 times and lost my auto coverage between 1977 and 1979.
But see, I mean, that just tells people, for anyone listening that's an actual truck driver and you do the work, from your safety managers, we're humans too, we're humans too, we like, I got a size 14 wide foot. It doesn't take me much to get a little bit accidentally more than 5 over the posted limit,
That's one of those things, we're all human, and it's really fun. We've got this culture at our company where our guys generally know if we come to them with something, it's not because we're trying to, beat our chest and say, oh, you screwed up and, we're perfect. It's that we just want them to do better and be the driver that we know they are, operate at their performance level that we know they can. But on the flip side, they are not afraid to come call us out too.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's right.
So it's one of those things that door swings both ways.
So I'll say this too about the safety company I'm with, and then I'm not going to show y'all my setup in front of the dash right here, but we operate the same thing. If we got our environmental team has groups of labor that go out and install silt fence at construction sites, and all those work trucks have cameras, and so they hold us to the same. Management gets the same treatment, same as you're saying, is that, hey, if we're gonna enact this, everybody gets it. And it's kind of the same thing. I think ours is a little more hush hush. I won't say any more about that. But yeah, man, I'm really excited about joining this adventure with the both of you. It's been an honor getting to know you guys over the last couple of years. I'm really excited about how y'all handle things and handle your drivers, and really looking forward to bringing those topics up where we can deep dive them on some of these episodes to really dive into the technical side of cameras, dive into the coaching side, from all the different aspects of safety inside the trucking world, and even some here on the construction side. As they cross a lot of times. A lot of your truck drivers with flatbeds are delivering material to the construction site. So.
Well, that's back when I was driving the tow truck and hauling all that heavy equipment.
Yeah.
I'm not hauling it to somebody's house, so it's,
Mm-hmm.
it all comes together at some point.
Yeah.
Which is always fun when you find that regulation that OSHA and FMCSA don't necessarily agree on.
Yeah.
Things like that, or it's just always fun to try to find the right spot, the right lane to operate down, and make sure that you're not going to get audited, you're not going to get in trouble, but more so that you guys go home safe at the end of the day. So yeah.
You're telling me we're going to cover personal conveyance?
Yeah.
So much of this stuff, and construction. Your construction. Did a lot of work with landfills. Key Oil has a construction company now. They know regulations, and they've been exposed to the OSHA stuff. And in reality, if it's done in a timely manner, as the standards talk about, are addressed at, they know them. They could teach the meeting.
Yeah.
But yet
100%.
you always find something that needs correction.
Yes, sir.
And so just like a driver who fails to use a turn signal, or a driver who has a triggered event, it's human nature to become complacent.
Yeah, 100%.
And so the success of a safety program is to continue to do follow-up, continue to do reminders, continue to discipline as needed, and everybody then expects you to be looking for those things. And when you stop looking for those things, then you're telling them it's not important anymore.
Right.
And so that's how drivers start to police themselves. And that's
Right.
my most successful solid waste locations is where drivers police their coworkers.
So that's pretty much what a big portion of my new role in safety is. I call myself FOSHA, fake OSHA. But kind of like how y'all do your pre-trip with the sticker program, right? Like finding the stickers. That's kind of what I do. Is I go out and, like you said, I can find something on any site. But the biggest thing I'm looking for when I go is, are the basics being met?
Mm-hmm.
Then we can get in. Now, if there's something super hazardous, then I'm going to stop them immediately. You know what I mean? But just like you said, it's so many people. Everybody out there can tell me the rule, because when they see me coming, they're running and throwing their hard hats on, putting their safety glasses on. So they know the rule. It's not that they don't know it. It's just you have to have somebody come out and bring them back to life, You
mean like when you go to a job site and you got a guy up in a boom lift and you look at the supervisor and you just go, you know what I'm about to say, right? And he goes,
know.
Yep.
Yep.
They know. Pull him down.
and the goal is that you in the future can get to a job site and that lead person at the job site has already done what they would expect you to do. That's the
Exactly.
goal.
So I have a question for you, Sawyer.
Yeah, man.
How many times do you show up at the job site and watch guys scatter like cockroaches?
Oh man. And then, well, I see it often, but the crazier part is hearing. You can almost hear the anxiety hit the voice of the superintendent. It's like you'll hear him talking. Like sometimes they don't know I'm there, so I'll hear him talking to somebody else in the very early mornings, calm, casual voice. Like, yeah, we need to get this started today. Blah 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 blah. Soon as they see me, it's like their pitch changes. You can hear almost their heart rate go up in their voice. It's like, man, like. And the good thing about what I do is I'm not actually there to cite and issue violations, none of that. That's my whole goal and objective is to catch it before OSHA would ever catch it and let them have that chance to correct it. So there's really no, you want me to find it because you're not going to lose your job if I find it and we get it made right, But if OSHA comes in and you get a $100,000 fine or a job site shut down, there's probably going to be worse consequences for that individual. But yeah, man, I see it all the time. Yep, they just scatter.
Well, some of the conversations I'll have in the Murphy Mondays is the one thing that in the Marine Corps, if you're a private and a rifleman, you're responsible for what your responsibilities are. And the saying is you're responsible for what you do and what you don't do.
Yep.
So the fire team leader has 2 riflemen and an automatic rifleman, and the squad leader has 3 fire team leaders and a mortarman, and the platoon commander has 4 squads, and the company commander has 4 platoons. And that's the same line applies to everybody. And if you work from that standpoint, your superintendents on the job site are responsible for what's done and what fails to happen, just like a dispatcher should be. And maybe a dispatcher that we can call a supervisor can be. Then we're as Dylan has just learned, we're making that ship turn into the wind.
That's right.
Might be a big ship, but she'll still turn.
She'll still turn.
So that brings up a good point, though. We're going to have these once a month episodes where it might be the 3 of us. I've also got some guests lined up that might take part and share some of their stories they have in the industry. But there's also going to be weekly content from the 3 of us individually. David's going to be on Mondays, start off the week right with one of the many stories he has. And I've heard a lot of them, and I still haven't heard all of them, so they're always fun.
You know what? I'll interrupt Dylan right there because one of the things that made some of our locations in Nashville a success, it was Nashville and Murfreesboro, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and out there in Johnson City. One of the things that made it so successful and it was tying drivers and helpers and mechanics, tying their families into the events at the hauling companies in the landfills. And so we started basically a newsletter, and we started saying, featuring a driver, what's your favorite meal, what does your wife cook that you always ask for, and then we had a recipe page.
That's cool.
And then I started submitting one of my recipes, and
you, the legend, what I hear, I got to get those recipes, man. I got to get those recipes.
And so, but I mean, it became a thing where drivers were saying, my wife wants to know when she needs to submit a recipe. And so the driver was going home and communicating with his wife, and she was involved in his safety, and he knew that he was doing his job to support them and her and the family. And I mean, it made a real culture. I mean, that's when I first started seeing drivers come to me and ask for extra keychains of the Smith System 5 keys because they were going to give it to their nephew or their niece.
Heck yeah.
And
keep that generation of safety going.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's a fun thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Yeah, and then don't forget too, we're gonna go on Wild West Wednesdays for Mr. Dylan West. Well,
yep.
Are you gonna be like riding in one of those battery operated scooters onto a job site one day just to
hey, I
just
just
to
may.
get people's attention?
I just might. Hey, so I already grabbed their attention
Sawyer
pulling up
Scooter
on my
Sundays.
Harley. So they got me this company car. So I quit pulling up the job sites on my Harley, revving up the motor. But
I mean, but what better way to make an impression than be like, look,
yeah,
I'm a safety guy, vroom vroom, you know.
that's right. And I carry
Uh,
a chain and a bat with me when I walked up.
got the chain wallet,
Yeah.
leather chaps, the whole nine.
Yeah, my leather
And
chaps.
don't lie,
I'm
you're
a
in
fan.
Florida, it's too hot to wear all that stuff.
My goodness.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, there'll be a post on the website every Sunday talking about something, sharing different stories, different outlooks, different knowledge.
And because I like to work around OSHA, I'm releasing mine on Sawyer Saturdays because we do the work around the weekdays, so OSHA don't catch it.
There you go. So yeah, check out the website, like the video. Hopefully they'll keep coming for some time and get all this knowledge out there and try to make everybody better. If you go on the website, there is a contact us page. So if you're interested in sharing something you might know or hopping on here with us, we'd welcome it. And
or a recipe.
Looking to try something new.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, reach out to us, and otherwise we'll see you in the next episode.
See you guys.
All right. Good to see you, Sawyer.
Good seeing you.